I recently did a video about riding in the cold on my Versys X300, and one of the comments that I had was, my hands get really cold. Tyler F. commented that these Barkbuster storms really help deflect the wind off your hands and help keep them warm. So I went ahead and ordered a pair of these off Revzilla. Most handguards are kind of like one size fits all, I guess. And with the bar weight ends and all that stuff, it didn't seem like one of those sets would work really well on my bike. The factory ones were just all plastic and they're real expensive. And I thought, well, there's got to be something better. Well, sure enough, here, these actually say on the box Kawasaki KLE 250-300 or Versys X 2017 and on. So they're designed specifically for my bike. And I'm going to get them installed and see how I like them. First, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this bar weight off, mount the piece on, and then we'll see how it looks. So this was tough last time. Basically, well, it's not really tough. It just takes a while, and you got to be patient with it. Turn this clockwise while you're pulling on this. Once I get a little bit of a gap, I'll spray a little WD-40 to try to help out a little bit. Okay. So initially you hear some snapping noise, and that's some kind of a, I don't know, metal pieces in there that have to kind of break. Okay, I got a little bit of a gap now. Alright, I wonder if I can roll this up actually a little bit. I bet at the factory they had glued that or something. There we go. Okay. I rolled the hand grip up a little bit, and so that's going to allow me to get my WD-40 in there and then just give it a solid spray. Maybe do a little more. There we go. So a little bit of WD-40 in there. Going to help loosen those. Yeah, see, makes it a bit easier to turn. And then pull outwards towards you while turning. And I'm pulling pretty hard. The direction said excessive force may be required, or something along those lines. You can tell I am making progress. Just slow going. Let me see if I can get a little more in there. Get back as far as I can. Kind of helps that rubber loosen up. The nice thing was, it's a little chilly out here when I started, but I'm pulling enough to work my muscles and so warm me up. This bed of roses that I lay on, where I was taught to be a man. This bed of roses. There we go. Sometimes when you sing, it makes it go a little better. It's my hack, my tip. There we go. Bar weight out. So this piece I actually weaved in, I think from this side out. It is on top of the electrical connector and the throttle lines, the throttle cables, but it is, well, I guess, oh yeah, it's underneath the brake sensor wires. right? Yeah, under the brake sensor wires, above the throttle wires, and it kind of went in there okay. And then I got it up as close as I can get it, pretty much, to the brake lever bracket. And let's see how that turns out. Puts me pretty darn close. Hopefully this works. Okay, I think I'm getting it. Yeah, it's starting to taper. So, once it starts to taper, don't go too tight. You still want to be able to turn it. I want you to surrender all my feelings rose today, and I want you to remain. The power of children can amaze. I'll try not to complain. I know that's a piss up, baby. Chemicals between us, walls that lie between us, lie in this bed. Okay. Oh, it hits the dash, so I gotta go a little higher with it. Okay, I don't like that. So now the problem is, this is pushing these cables down, so it rubs here. The whole thing's gonna need to come up. Everything you said, every driven word, like a hammer held to my head. You don't know what you do to me. Ouch, what did I just break? I just broke something. This is the clutch lever. I'm going to bend it so it's on this side of the bike, and I felt like it was too high after installing those guards. So I'm going to bend it down a little bit so that it can stay where it's in its position, but where I go to grab it on my fingers will be lower. I did this on my KLX when I did handguards also. I had to do the same thing. So the trick to do this, since I'm wanting to bend it down, I'm going to do it like this and pull it towards me. You just take a little rag, and then that'll keep the bench vise from chewing it up too much. Put it there in the bench vise. Get it on there kind of tight. And then if you feel it with your hands here, you can actually feel it bend. So just grab it with your hands and give it a tug back. So there. Got a couple of little nicks in it, but not too bad because I had the rag on it. But now you can see I've got it bent slightly downward. So there where I grab it hopefully is a little bit lower. I may have to. So now I'm going to just go sit it back on the bike, and if it needs to bend more, I'll come back and bend it a little bit more. Barkbusters are installed. They're finished now, so I'm a little upset. It was a lot more difficult than it should have been, being that these were, you know, they were kind of a premium price, and they're supposed to be designed to fit this bike. And I mean, for the most part they did, but there was just some things that weren't so ideal. Like when I got this in, it was really hard to clear. Actually, this broke. You can kind of see that. While I was installing that, the plastic just broke. It kind of pissed me off because I don't know how hard that is to replace or repair, but that broke while putting this in. You know, and I don't know if it were fixed, if it would still be a problem or not. But you can, I can turn all the way here, and you can see that it just the cables touch, which is okay. It still can go to full lock. And then when going all the way up, definitely check to make sure you're clearing this. The first time I did the one on the other side, it would hit. So you want to raise it up enough. So it's a little higher. They said you want this to be level with the horizontal or whatever, but I had to twist it up or else I would hit here and I would hit down here. It would rub the plastic here. So anyway, I got it on there. You know, it doesn't look bad. I mean, from the front, I think it looks fine that they're slightly up. It's just, you know, like I said, if they designed it specifically for this bike, the instructions should say that that's up a little instead of perfectly level. Definitely loosen this and this when you go to install them. This one was definitely the harder one to get on, but it just took some fiddling. When I first had it, it was actually just slightly over on this bend, and I got the whole thing set up, and I was like, okay, cool. And then this would just move. Even though I had everything tight, it would slide up to down. But that was because this being slightly on this clamp, it wasn't holding the bar solid enough. So I had to loosen this, pull it, you know, even though this is a real tight, the brake cable, but I pulled it as far to the right as I could, which allowed this to finally get on enough of a flat surface that it can clamp down and actually hold. So now it's nice and solid. I think that's gonna work. Hopefully my throttle cable never becomes a problem, because like I said, that ended up cracking. But anyway, I did handguards on my KLX 250, and I remembered spending forever because I was so meticulous trying to get everything lined up just right. And that was a one size fits all. And I remember afterward being like, man, this sucked. I don't want to have to do that again. It was just you know, OCD, or I don't know what it is, but it was annoying. And so when I did this one, I spent more to get ones that were custom tailored to the bike, and I ended up spending just as long. Well, it probably didn't take me as long, but I ended up still having to hack it. So I also had to bend the levers, both of them, the brake lever a little bit because it was higher than I liked it, and then the clutch lever. Honestly, I feel like I bent the clutch lever a little too much, because it now kind of feels awkward. But you know, I'll try it a little while and then see what I think, and I can always bend it a little more up. I remove this bolt, loosen it. Actually, to pull the clutch lever off with this on, it's actually a big deal because I have to take that out. I have to loosen this or get it to where it can be moved, because there's not enough clearance there to pull this straight out. So anyway, it's one of those things that all has to go on in just the right order. One other thing I wanted to point out was I did put this on the bench grinder, and I grinded off that corner there, just because you can see when I go to pull on that, it was actually rubbing on this. So I could have either grinded this or that, and this was easy to pull off after I installed that. Plus I took it off to bend it anyway, so while I had it off bending it, I just grinded a little bit of that off. Little things like that, you know. I wish it was a little bit smoother of an install. And I didn't find a lot of videos on installing handguards online, and I think this is why. It's because even these custom handguards, yeah, you get them on, and then people say, yeah, that's okay, you know, they get the job done, but it's because it's not a smooth install. And I don't know, maybe it's not a smooth install because everybody's setup is a little bit different. These are the factory bars. This is the factory, you know, knobs and all that stuff. Maybe my knob was a little different, or lever, I'm sorry. This is the factory lever, so maybe my levers were in a slightly different spot than the engineers that designed this when they were building it. I don't know. I kind of also think, I think the T-Rex one, which isn't available yet, but when I was looking at it, it looks like this actually comes up and around this side of the brake reservoir, which has its own pros and cons. Its obvious pro is you don't have to deal with breaking your throttle cable adapter. You don't have to deal with trying to weave in and out of all this stuff and then have this tiny amount of clearance when it comes to rubbing on your fender. But its obvious con is now you can't access your brake reservoir. Then again, I can't really remember ever even having to get into one of these. I wish it was a better install, but it's all done now. I'm happy. I guess I'm not upset about it. I did order a different windscreen, and I do notice that this comes pretty close to hitting the windscreen. So hopefully the new windscreen that I ordered has this little curve in it. Hopefully that helps somebody. Thanks for watching.